Supernatural Season 14, Episode 14, Ouroboros. Now, this is a great episode for the series to come back on. It was really good getting to see Jack. He didn't really lose control like I was expecting, of course, with him using his abilities and technically, zapping off his soul. I thought we'd see a bit more of that. I felt like, considering everything that happened in the episode, it was kind of hard to be like, all right, well, yeah, he was becoming, kind of like Sam when he lost his soul and people are just kind of like, meh, or whatever. It was like, no, he's still kind of just doing the same thing, and I guess it's because he had that very specific mission in mind. We didn't really see him be like sort of casual or nonchalant about anything in the whole episode. It was still just like, I have to do this thing and I have to protect my family. Great scene, of course, when he kills the Gorgon and he's no, it was the very end of the episode when technically he kills off Michael, which I thought was insane by the end of the episode. But he says like, I'm a Winchester. I was like, well, that was super cool. I love that scene. But the whole episode I thought was pretty fun. It starts off with the Gorgon and they don't know what the heck is happening. It's like, how do we keep screwing this up? Like, every time we get here, there's a dead body. So the guys are working with Rowena. She's the one who's helping them, track this creature down. We see that he's basically gaining, like, clairvoyance pretty much when he eats the eyeballs of people. And that's what allows him to see Sam, Dean, and Rowena. But he can't see angels. So he can't see Jack and he can't see Cass. So I thought that was kind of cool, and that was, kind of how they ended up playing the part, where eventually that's how they ended up capturing the character, and I thought it was pretty cool. And who knows what in the world is supposed to be Jack's fate or anything like that, but I guess it's like a different set of things or something, because the Gorgons, like they even reference it where he's like, he said he saw me, like he saw my fate, and like his eyes changed a different color when he said that. Like normally when he would see Sam and Dean, his eyes were green, but it was like when he was looking at Jack, his eyes were kind of like sky blue or something. I was like, well, that's interesting. But, he got decapitated and that was pretty much it. So I was like, I don't know if that was like really a thing or he just said that or what the deal was. But, technically they were speculating. But I guess since they threw it in there, it was like, okay, then he technically saw something of Jack's future. But I thought that was cool. But he also did tell that story where he was like, I'm not sure if he's the chicken or the snake. So he saw something, but there was still this idea of like, he doesn't exactly know 100%. So maybe it got to that point of basically the end of the episode where it's like, I can't tell exactly what's going to happen, but I know something, crazy is going to happen because I can tell, he's going to use his power. But I love the way it was handled. I thought it was a pretty fun episode. Everything was just like kind of depressing in the beginning where it's just like, Dean continuously talking about like, we have this set plan and I want to have faith, but if things don't go the way we want them to, coffin, ocean, that's it. And, he's saying, like, I'm fine. And then Jack comes back after coughing up all the blood and stuff. And it's like, I'm fine. And Dean's like, see, everybody's fine. Everything's cool. So they were, kind of going about things fairly normally. And then, of course, they get to the big fight towards the end of the episode. Dean gets knocked unconscious. And Michael is let free. And I didn't know what that meant, especially when he said he was gone. I thought that was going to lead into, stuff going down the line for the rest of the season. And then it turned out that, unfortunately, and I thought this was really messed up, they killed like everybody that was in the bunker. And I was like, well, that sucks. Even though technically I only, there was only like the one character whose name unfortunately I can't remember because it hasn't been long enough for me because I suck at names. But it was like, oh, that sucks. Like I at least recognize her. Like she was basically the most important character out of all the random new people that showed up, not counting, of course, the alternate Bobby. So I was like, oh, well, that actually kind of sucked because I recognized her character. Like, they talked to her a bunch. So I was like, oh, well, that actually kind of sucked. Everyone else was legitimately just random people. But it was like, this is crazy. Like, everybody's dying. Dean was freaking out. So, I love the way the ending was handled. And then Michael takes over Rowena. And I like the way that they handled that as well, where it's like, Rowena would never let you in. And then they show the flashback. And ultimately, it's like, well, initially she went against it because it was like, hey, fate says that Sam's the one that's supposed to kill me. So no big deal. But ultimately, she lets him take over anyway. And then he just, like, it's a killing spree. Like, it's just people are just dying. It's like wiping everybody out. And then, it's that battle. It's Michael versus Jack at the end. And Michael's, like, making everyone else blind. And I think it was like blind, pain, and then they couldn't breathe. That was the other thing. And so it was just, like, random bits of pain and stuff. And then Jack is like, well, I have to sacrifice, going with this story, the chicken and the egg. It's like, I have to sacrifice everything that I know in order to defeat, my greatest enemy. And he almost does that, but technically he ends up absorbing, I guess he absorbed Michael's grace, but I was like, I feel like he'd have to do way more than that to be like, I'm me again. Like, he was 100% himself. And I was like, I feel like it would take way more than just Grace to do that, even if it is, Archangel Grace. I was like, I feel like it would have had to have been way more than that, but I guess not. He's an Nephilim, so it's just, whatever it is, that's just how it is. But I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, that was kind of like him refilling himself, but they still have to solve the problem. And then it was like, nope, he's like 100% cured. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of surprised. I thought it would have been way more than that. I thought they would have had to go through like rituals and the normal supernatural stuff where it's like, we got to do like 8 things before this works. And it was like, nope, I felt like it was way more than he absorbed Michael's grace. It was like he absorbed him pretty much. And I was like, I'm me again. And I was like, well, that's a pretty great way to end the episode. So love that. We'll see what happens in the next episode because it seems like they're pseudo time traveling again. It's hard to tell. It's like, they're kind of in the 50s and stuff. So I don't know if that's them actually being in the 50s, which I doubt, or if something happened to a very specific town, or something weird is going on and everyone's been like changed in some crazy 50s sort of way. But I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what the main story is, especially now, they've killed off Michael. Now it has to go into the Lucifer stuff. Like, what's going on with Nick? What's going on with Lucifer? So, big questions there for sure as far as what's going on next, because now the main villain is gone. So it's like, all right, well, what the heck now? Like, what are we going to do? Michael was the big thing. I mean, they could easily bring in some random character, but I feel like that would be really stupid to do at this point and be like, now I'm the new villain for, 5 more episodes. Well, probably more than that. I think we're at, at about 20, so it'd be like, like 9 more episodes or something. It's like, technically that is 9 hours worth of content, probably more since we're only at, episode 14. But it's just like, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. But definitely like the way it ended, because now it's like, well, I don't know what to really expect because they killed off the main villain. I feel like they have to dive into the whole Lucifer, being in with the empty sort of stuff. So I'm excited for that because that's kind of what I've been waiting for in general. So Lucifer coming back, most likely bonding with Nick, and we just get, classic Lucifer back. Ultimately, we kind of just have to see how in the world that's going to end up playing out, but who knows? But at this point, I'm excited. I'm like, all right, I don't know where this could possibly go. You've killed off the main villain, but I'm definitely excited to see how that plays out. So I'm looking forward to it. Of course, we'd love to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, least favorite parts about it, and naturally, I would love to know your predictions now that they have killed Michael. What are you guys thinking? Where are we headed? What are they going to do with Lucifer? What are they going to do with Nick? How do you guys feel about them officially killing off Michael? Because it's been a big thing this whole season. Like, all right, well, how is Michael going to lose? What's going to happen with Lucifer? I've had, a million theories as this season has gone on. Like, all right, well, Lucifer's going to come back, and that's how they're going to team up to beat Michael, and then, Lucifer will be Lucifer. So there, it's been changing back and forth. Like, all right, well, this happened now, so maybe that's how that's going to end up playing out. We've seen the empty kind of come at the characters personally, so I still feel like that has to be an element. I don't know if the empty will become like the new villain for the next however many episodes, but I mean, like I said, it's a decent amount of episodes. I mean, heck, if they did 9, that would be 23, and I think it's supposed to technically be a shorter season even. So, we'll kind of see how it ends up playing out all together. But we'd love to know how you guys feel about them actually taking down Michael in this episode. And of course, like I said, predictions for where we could possibly be headed now that we don't, excuse me, we don't really have a main villain anymore. So I would love to know your thoughts on that. And of course, what you all thought about this episode in general. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.